Hello, my name is Kelly Bluen. I am a certified Zentangle teacher. Welcome to episode 16 of my floral series. We have already completed 3 weeks of florals. I hope that you watched those videos and followed along. They were so much fun. And now we are on week 4 and we are doing this beautiful little color swatch grid that we are putting our flower patterns on. Okay, so we're going to do that today, but we also are going to paint one of our 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch square tiles. These came in your May Floral kit. If you do not have the May Floral kit, you can just cut a 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch piece of watercolor paper. I am using Canson, and we're going to paint on this today. So we're going to paint on this first. So we're going to need our brush, our little paint palette, and our square and some water. I've got a little hair in here. And then we're going to need our sketchbook, an eraser, pen, pencil, and our paper to draw a floral on. Okay, so we kind of have 2 different things going on today. This week is just kind of one of those weeks where we're just packing things in and hoping that you love it. All right, look at how cute that was from yesterday. I love it. I'm going to move that aside for a minute. And I'm going to get my palette and my square. So I included 4 squares in your kit. One of them we've been using to test out colors. So you should have 3 more. And you just want to look on the 2 sides and find the side that is a little bit more rough. That's going to absorb the color a little bit better. Okay, get your water and brush ready. And then if you have a little towel that you can wipe your brush off on, that is also very helpful. Okay, so this is a Zentangle inspired art series. Each day we are doing florals, but not in your traditional Zentangle way. We are doing them in unique configurations, unique garden settings, and just kind of playing with all of these fun shapes. Okay, so this we're just going to put watercolor on here. Then we're going to let it set until tomorrow. We do not need to draw on this today. We're just prepping it. Okay, I'm going to dip my brush all the way into my water, get it nice and full. And then I'm going to do a red, yellow, blue. So I'm going to do red across the top, then some yellow, then a little bit of blue. If you want to just do one color, you can. We're going to be drawing a floral on this tomorrow. So I just thought it'd be fun to kind of see how those colors mix and see what happens. But if you just want to do one solid color, you can. Or you can fast forward, watch me, see how mine turns out, see what you think. All right, I've got this pinkish red color. I'm going to slide it across the top, but I'm going to stop before I get to the end. And I'm going to dip in, get a little bit more water. And then I'm going to do it again without getting more color. Now I'm going to dip in, get it all the way clean, and I'm going to grab some of the yellow. And I'm going to let it touch the wet part of the pink. And I'm going to do a couple of slides with that yellow. Add a little bit more water here to encourage those to combine. All right, clean my brush off, and I'm going to grab blue. You can do any 3 colors you want. Get more water, more blue. And I'm not going to quite touch the bottom. Now that blue and yellow, we're going to mix a little bit and make some green. That pink and yellow, we're going to make some orange. That was so quick and such an easy, fast way to prep a tile to draw on later. So I'm just going to set this aside and let the colors mix together, and then we'll take a peek at it at the end to see how it dried. Okay, set that aside, set my paint aside, and my water jar. I didn't even need my towel. Make sure my brush is nice and laying on top so it can rest and dry. Okay, look at that. 5 minutes in, we've already created a beautiful tile to work on another day. All right, I'm going to get my sketchbook out, go to the back. Here we go. Get my pen. So yesterday we did this little doodle flower, and based on the comments, I think you guys liked this style. So we're just going to keep going with it. So today is going to be day 17. Just make it fancy. And we're going to call this one Doodle Flower 2. Not very creative, but these are not official tangles or patterns. We're just having fun with cute little flowers. Okay, well, let's do this one. All right, I'm going to zoom in a bit. Maybe if I can zoom, here we go. Okay, this one is going to have a little bump and a line underneath. It's about the width of my pinky nail. And then from the center, I'm going to make a little dot, and I'm going to do a nice long loop. That dot just reminds me to come back up to that spot. Then I'm going to go next to it, and I'm going to do another long loop. And another, and one more, and I'm making them smaller and smaller as I go. I only had room for that. I didn't do a small one on that end, and that's okay. I mean, I guess I could tuck one in there. That is the basic shape of the flower. But of course, we're not going to stop there. So if we want to play around with those lines like we did yesterday, we can trace that again. Trace each of these a little bit loose. We can add some flicks in the middle. We could add some little dots in the top, maybe on one side. And we have this cute little flower. It's kind of like Flux Echo, but upside down. So very similar. So that is the basic shape, but we're going to do it again and make it a little bit fancier, because one cool thing about basic shapes, basic designs, is that you can add to them or embellish them. So we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to just make that bump a little bit bigger, like so. And I'm going to try to make a little bit longer and maybe a little bit wider of a petal. I'm going to start with that dot, just so I remember where to come back to. It looks like a mushroom. I'm going to put a little dot on each side of it. And that's going to be where I start the next petals. And I'm doing whole petals and bumping into these instead of the flux echo where they build off of each other. But it works either way. I'm just showing you a little bit different way. I'm going to put a dot on each corner. Do a little smaller loop and a smaller loop. And I'm going to ink in those areas in between the petals. For this top part, let's do that loose tracing a couple of times. And for these petals, let's go out a ways. Let's go like this. So I'm still doing that light tip, kind of loose, tracing, but I'm giving the ends just a little bit of space. And then I'm going to do it once more on that outer line and give that just the slightest little bumpy wiggle. It's so subtle. And then inside the petals, let's do little loops that we do 2 times. And up in the top, let's do a couple little dots on the side. It just sort of gives you the illusion that there's a little shadow maybe over there. And let's do some tiny circles around the top. If you don't like those, you don't have to add them. I'm going to go over them a second time, very, very light on my pen to give that loose, sketchy feel. Let's do a little stem, nice and thin, and then just double it. Do a leaf, double that. And then for the inside, let's do an S shape that goes from one point to the other. And let's put some dots in the larger parts of each of those S shapes. And that's it. Of course, we could do a second leaf if you want, but look at how we took this basic shape of a bump and some petals, a bump and some petals, and we completely changed how it looks based on how large we made them, if we added this little aura, how we changed up the middle. Such an easy way to add variations to your floral patterns. All right, shall we go ahead and put Doodle Flower 2 on our page? I think we should. Okay, so now you have a decision to make. You can choose, as I'm going to put 3 of the new Doodle flowers right here side by side like a little garden. Or you can turn it and make one with a stem. And by doing that, you'll end up with a sideways flower, which I promise you looks really cool. And then you can do one going down, and then you can do one going this way for days 3 and 4. It's up to you. It would look kind of cool as a single, but I'm going to do it as a little mini garden. Before I do that, I'm going to put my top on my pen, and I'm going to get my eraser because I forgot I wanted to erase these pencil lines yesterday, and I didn't do that. So let's go through and get that initial grid that we made with our pencils. Let's get that out of there. These kneaded erasers don't leave residue, so they work so well. Okay. It's okay if some of your pencil lines don't come off. There we go. Okay, I've got my Micron pen. This is a PN plastic nib pen. The tips of the PN are 0.5, so they're a little bit thicker than like a 1 or a 3, but can still be a pretty fine point. All right, here is the reminder of how to make Doodle Flower 2. So I think what I want to do is start in the middle with this one and then maybe put 2 little ones on the sides. That's just my plan. You do whatever you would like. Okay, I want to make sure I've got room for 3. I don't mind them bumping into each other. I just want to make sure I don't draw so big that I fill up the whole piece. All right, that was a very fast zoom. Okay, I'm going to do one right here. I'm going to do the little bump and then across. I probably could have done it a little bit higher. Do my loops. And I'm going to ink in those tiny little spaces in between if there are any. I feel like right away I want to put in my other 2 just to kind of fill the space. So I'm going to do one over here. I'm going to make this one a little bit higher. And I'll do this one higher as well. I'll put in those. And these ones. I'm going to go back to this middle one, and that's where I'm going to add that line that gives a little bit of an aura. So I'm going to purposely go out a bit on each of these. And very light on my pen, I'm going to go around that outside edge just a little bit. Put those little dots on the top, on the side. And those little circles. Gonna double those circles so light on my pen because if I push down too hard, it's gonna get really thick and dark. And I'm gonna put tiny loops on the inside. I'm not going to double them because it's so much smaller than my practice one. I don't really have room to double it. Okay, these two outside ones, I'm going to double the, oh, I didn't double the top. Okay, do that real quick. When I say double, I just mean run your pen over it again. Okay, these two outside ones, I'm gonna run my pen over the top and each loop on both of them. I'm gonna put those little dots on the inside left-hand corner. And inside these, I'm gonna add a flick and a dot. On the top of each of those, I'm gonna do 3 dots up the side. I don't know why. You do what you want, add more dots if you want. I just think that's enough. All right, so I really envisioned like little stems and leaves on these, and I don't have a lot of room. So what I'm gonna do first is put in my little frame, and then I'll go back and add some stems. So my frame is gonna be just like I did in the pink one, where I go just inside the orange slightly, and I make a little rectangle. My lines are loose and wiggly. And then I'm going to do it again, purposely letting my pen go away from the line a bit to create that cute little frame. Okay, I'm going to make a stem and I'm going to double it. Don't really have room for one in the middle, but I'm putting it in there anyway. And then I'm just going to do a leaf like that. And I'll do a leaf on this side as well. I'm going to double out those lines. Should they be on both sides? I feel like they should, especially because that middle one doesn't have room. Yours might have room. I'm going to put that little S shape and some dots. I'm just going to put the dots on one side because I don't have a lot of room. All right, what do you think? Do you like it? I love it. I'm going to add some dots near my frame on this one just because I've got a lot of empty space. Look how cute that is. I feel like this whole thing is going to be so beautiful, but wouldn't it be fun to cut these out and use them on like little greeting cards? Just these little swatches with florals. It would be so cute. Okay, I did that one there. I'm going to go down here and do the purple one. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to probably go a little bit quicker this time, just because now you're an expert at Doodle Flower too. And I think on this one, I'm just gonna do 2. I'm gonna try to do one kind of wide, big one and one small one, It's not going to exactly match this one, but that's okay. And if you want to do 3, then please do 3. Okay, I'm going to go up a little bit higher, and then I'm going to do 1 down a little bit lower. Loop, loop, loop. Fill in those little spaces in between. If there are any. For both of these, I'm going to do that wide aura. So aura, aura. It's one of those tethered auras where it comes right back to the line. Look how pretty. I'm going to double that outside line, so light on my pen, hardly touching the paper. And I'm also going to double the 2 tops. Again, so light on my pen. In my little practice book here, I'm going to show you just like a thick line and then really light on my pen, and how it kind of jumps and goes wiggly, and like a regular drawn line combined with that just looks so magical to me. Okay, I'm going to put some dots on the side. I'm going to put those itty bitty loops in the middle. I'm not going to double them. I don't think I am. I don't really have enough room to double them. And I'm going to put those circles around the top of both. And for those, I'm kind of doing like 1 on top and then 2 down the sides to keep it sort of even, but it really doesn't matter. It's a made-up flower anyway. Double those if you want. I'm going to add that little frame just inside the purple. And I'm going to double it. So one of mine has room for a little stem that I'm going to like double. This one does not, but I'm just going to put a little curve in here as if there's one, but you really can't see it. And then for these, I want to do big leaves that are kind of coming out behind it and off to the side. I'll take a moment to breathe and let you catch up if you're behind a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to do a leaf. I'm going to do this bottom part first like this, and then that part. See how I have it going way up and behind the floral? Same thing on this side. I'm doing like a big curve, and then this is going to curve this way. I'm going to double that, maybe even triple line it if I need it to look a little more messy. And then for the inside, I'm just going to do a straight line that I'm going to double. And do a traditional leaf that just has these little veins wherever you might be able to see them. just kind of little hints of vein. And you can double those as well. I'm going to put a couple of dark dots up near the top and down the side. And day 2 is done. It's actually episode 16, but day 2 of this particular week. I hope that you're enjoying drawing the florals over the paint. I just think it offers so many ideas and variations, I guess. And if you take, let me grab some tiles here. Okay, the Zentangle brand tiles look like this. This is the back, and they're a beautiful thick paper. You can take the squares, the bijou, the little ones, or the phi tile, it's called. It's like a rectangle. All of these take watercolor really well. And so how fun would it be to just get a little collection of these and add some watercolor and then just set them aside. And then one day when you're just feeling like you want to do some tangles, pick one up and start drawing over the colors. So much fun. All right, thank you so much for joining me for Doodle Flower 2. We will see you tomorrow. Oh, and I wanted to check my paint here. Okay, look at how cool this looks. See if I can zoom in. Look at how this yellow went up into that pink and made orange, and it made these little like blooms. And this just had a really soft green down here. I love that. So we're going to use this tomorrow along with a new pattern. All right, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.